Hello, everybody. Hi, Cindy. This is Fields. Hello. Yeah. And this is Fields. Good to have you. Hi, Linda. Linda, you were here early. I saw you got into this room really early. It's patient. That's awesome. Uh, Very good to have you guys with us. I am flying solo for the most of the part this evening. But don't be deterred. I will try to make it as smooth as possible. It is, we always like to start with gratitude, but since I am sort of flying solo, I might have to let people think that, so it may not be quite as fluid, not that they're ever really fluid, but it's maybe less fluid than some of the other images I have to keep an eye on the front door at the same time. So it's great to see you guys. I think I will start and kick off with some gratitude. Whatever you guys are grateful for, feel free to type into the chat. I'm grateful that it's only 8:30 at night and not 2:30 in the morning, as it was last week, which was a great excuse to spend time with you guys. We had a wonderful time in Spain, and Barcelona was everything that I had hoped it would be and more. And then I had a chance to go visit my son, who lives in southern Spain, or what they like to call it in Andalusia in northern Africa. So it was a lot of fun just to see him in his element. So he's a flamenco guitar player and just picked up his set up camp, literally booked an Airbnb for 30 days almost 2 years ago, and he's been there ever since. Went into the town square and just started playing his guitar, and which I guess is a really good way to meet people. I wouldn't know. I don't know how to play the guitar. I have guitar, but I don't know how to play them. But it's great to be with you guys this evening, and we're super grateful for getting to learn from more people. So tonight, not only am I sort of flying solo, but we're going to have a couple of guests via videos. I don't know if they're going to be guest speakers, but they are. So one of them is another one of my favorite Qigong teachers, Master Booth, who has a great school in China in the Lidong Mountain, called the Lidong Taoist Wellness Academy. And he's got a really interesting this way that he describes Qigong. So we're going to listen to a little bit of his. What's up, Brother Jack? Good to see you. And then we're going to do an evening Qigong practice that he has, that is free to the dates and help us sleep soundly. And then a really fun video when we get into the tea section about one of my favorite teas called Longjing or Dragon Well tea from Hangzhou, China, which is a really delicious green tea, almost looks like little nightclub or something. And I always think that the really good high quality Longjing is Dragon Well tea have almost like a roasted pumpkin seed sort of flavor and texture. So excited about all of that. Anna Marie, you can't hear me very well. Maybe that's not good. Cindy is affirming. Cannot hear very well. Let me see what I can do about fixing that. Thank you guys for letting me know.
How about that? Is that better? Much better? A little better? Excellente. See, I told you this is going to be, it takes a village to pull off one of these wild tea parties. So it's very good. So yeah, thank you so much for letting me know. Otherwise, I would have just been here in my ignorant bliss for a while. So just a couple of reminders just about sort of who we are and what we're doing. But before that, I think a quick little announcement is probably in order. So Jenny isn't going to be here for a while. Jenny has accepted a full-time job instead of doing this on a volunteer basis, as she was doing for a while, since we don't charge for any of this stuff. It's going to make it more difficult. So of course, she's still involved and still part of the family, but she's going to have other obligations to help her make a living, which we're excited about for her. So many of you guys know her or knew her in the work that she had done with Lee. I think I've shared on this call a few times that I've known Jenny. We had a pre-Lee, if you can say that, a pre-Lee relationship. So I've known Jenny for a long time and super happy and excited for her, where she's at. So she's still here, but obviously we all have some economic realities that we need to take care of. And when the opportunity presented itself, I'm very excited for her. So she'll still be here teaching Qigong with us on occasion, and even sharing some of her love of Chinese medicine, Chinese herbal medicine, her tips and tricks around just how to take care of yourself and how to really, in her way, sort of embrace the Tao in all of its simplicity. So just excited for her as she does that. So the what I want to start with is sort of what we typically do is just going through and a reminder of what it is that we're all doing here together, what the Wild Tea Party is all about. So the Wild Tea Party, eventually I'll actually have this memorized, but in the meantime, I'm glad for Google Docs. So welcome to the Wild Tea Party, a space where tea and movement converge to bring harmony, connection, and vitality to our lives. Together, we embark on a journey inspired by the timeless wisdom of tea and the flowing energy of Qigong. Thich Nhat Hanh offers us this guiding reflection. Drink your tea slowly and reverently, as if it is the axis on which the whole world, earth, revolves slowly, evenly, without rushing towards the future. Live the actual moment. Only this moment is life. In this spirit, each session will not only explore the mystery, mythology, and health benefits of a specific tea or herb. Tonight will be the Longjing Cha, but also weave in the gentle practice of Qigong. Just as tea invites us to pause and savor life, Qigong helps us cultivate presence and energy through mindful movement. Together, they create a synergy that nourishes both body and spirit, offering balance, clarity, and transformation. We are honored to have you join us tonight on our shared journey as we celebrate the simple yet profound acts that ground us in the present moment. We invite you to bring your curiosity, your open heart, and perhaps in the future, a friend or two, and when it makes sense, your teacup or tea vessel, whatever that may be, and to share in this unique blend of tea and Qigong. Together, we'll steep ourselves in the wisdom of nature and the flow of life. So having said all of that preamble, I'm going to share this video with you that is part of a course that I've been taking for a while. Actually, the first video you can actually find on YouTube, and I'll put the links to all of these as well in the Mighty Network space, so you can always refer back to them. But again, this is Master Gu, not to be confused with Mingtong Gu, who is here in the US that we've talked about a few times. But Master Gu is based in Wudong, China, in the mountains, and this is from his academy. And it's a very good, I think, explanation of Qigong. So I'll play this first, and then when this is done, it's about 7 or 8 minutes. When then this is finished, then we will switch videos and we'll actually do his evening Qigong routine together. So having said all of that, I will get this one started. All right. Hang on, I just realized I didn't share it right. You guys wouldn't have been able, you think you couldn't hear me, you wouldn't have been able to hear that video either. So let me do this the right way first. All right, hopefully I did it right this time. All right, so this is Master Gu describing Qigong for, whoops, I hit the right button.
What is Qigong? Qigong refers to either a singular form of exercise or a systematic practice, either in form of movement or simply with tranquility, centered with qi. What is qi then? Qi is a very important term for Chinese culture, for traditional Chinese medicine, particularly for Taoist medicine. As the saying goes, 人活一口气. A human being essentially lives on qi. We human beings come from qi and we back to qi. So our physical body is actually not that important because our life vitality is chiefly above the inner qi. So to practice qigong means to enhance your qi, to strengthen your qi, to better your qi, to circulate your qi. We say 药补不如食补, 食补不如气补. In a special situation, we need a certain medicine. Very much, we should have a very good way of diet. But in the long run, in the fundamental way, so how to enhance your qi, that's priority. So, well, this wall is very old. And actually, Qigong, if we explore its history, it's even older. 1974, there's an excavation of a very beautiful chart that will date back to the Western Han Dynasty, 202 BC, with the very many pictures, the posters of the Daoyin practicer. What is Daoyin then? Daoyin comes from a statement, 导气令和, 引体令柔. Externally, to move your body and become more soft. Internally, to circulate the qi and becomes more harmonious. This already you find something, the sign of the Qigong. The origin of Tai Chi is from Wudang Mountain. So just see, that's the statue of Zhang Sanfeng, the founder of Tai Chi Chuan. So we have Tai Chi Chuan, we have meditation, we have Daoyin, we have Qigong. So what's the relationship? What's the difference and the similarity? Sometime I would have the students who inquire, apart from Tai Chi Chuan, do you also teach Qigong? This sounds a little silly because all our exercise, it's for the purpose to enhance your qi. So Tai Chi Chuan is a kind of Qigong in a moving style and with meditative manner. And what is meditation? Meditation is a kind of Qigong chiefly in form of practiced in form of tranquility. What is Daoyin? Daoyin is what we say today Qigong, exhale, both with the external movement and internal harmony. This is like my dad.
Your dad is.
你做可别，对，他在拍个东西。Although I say Tai Chi Chuan is a kind of Qigong, Daoyin is Qigong, particularly we have some Qigong forms like 5 animal Qigong, 八段锦 Qigong, and 6 word healing Qigong. This is the first move of 八段锦. 两手托天理三焦. So since we say this is Qigong, so the coordination with the inner Qi is a must. It's not merely your hands up and down. We have Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So this one, in the Tai Chi beginning, we always have this. So this imagine is upper, we connected with the heavenly Qi. Down, we are absorbing the earthly Qi. In the middle, we are enhancing our human Qi for the purpose to achieve harmonious Qi. I can feel the power of Qi. I can benefit from the universal Qi. The Taoist practitioners, they have realized this. That's why we have been practicing Qigong. I hope you can also obtain benefit from Qigong practice.
Hey, thank you for watching. Beautiful stuff from Master Gu. If you'd like
So I was thinking we should have a Chinese pronunciation test at the end for a lot of those moves that he talked about. It's very good. I think maybe I mentioned this last time, but that's why I have, when I share these videos and they're in English and Chinese, trying to learn Chinese as slowly as I can. So there's a really good program called the Language Reactor that will allow you to have two sets of subtitles, one in English and one in whatever other language that you prefer. So very good. But he, I really appreciate his style, of course, very authentic. He's been immersed in that world for a very long time. And he gives with his workbooks or with the course, and I'll actually put one of them in the Mighty Network for the evening Qigong that we're going to do. So it gives you the Chinese characters, it lets you know a little bit more about the actual movements themselves, a little bit more sort of the rich history. So, and as we've talked about with this from the very beginning, the goal has never been to have a unique style that is all of our own, that we are putting on a pedestal somehow, whether that's for Qigong or Tea or anything else. We really want to be able to help expose all of us to different types of teachers, whether they're surfer dudes from Santa Cruz, California, or whether they're a Qigong master from the Wudong Mountains in China. It's just, I think, really important to see a lot of different perspectives. And so we've actually had a conversation today with a really good friend of mine who is teaches ninjutsu, which I would say, and even the ninja stuff, I would say is also part of Qigong, the way that he was describing Tai Chi Chuan, right? It's still working with the energy. So he's going to come on and maybe share some good tips for us around self-defense and some other great things, a little bit more in some ways, I suppose, practical or maybe edgy, more so than just Qigong and doing standing meditation. I think it would be hard to fend off somebody just with standing meditation. So some good ways to learn some other fun stuff in the future as well. So if you guys want to get comfortable, most of this Qigong that he's going to be doing is mostly from a standing position, but like everything else, do whatever is comfortable for your body. And we will take a break afterwards and just kind of before we get into the tea and share the next component. If you guys have any thoughts after the Qigong, I'll be very curious. Every teacher obviously has their own style. And so what I really appreciated actually about that last video was the fact that his dad was there banging on things when they're trying to film it, or then when his microphone falls off, right? So just again, just trying to keep it very real and not trying to be so esoteric all the time. So, all right, so I will get this one queued up. So this is literally, it's called the Evening Qigong. And he's doing it from the Wudong Mountains. This one's also about 8 minutes, but I think will give us a really good sense of a different style of Qigong. Some of it may be familiar, again, still working with the Qi, but some of it I think is very unique. At least his voice, of course, is very unique. So, all right, let me get this set up. Was that, I guess, really quick before I do that, was that volume okay with that video, the way that it was shared? Okay, excellent. Muchas gracias for the thumbs up, and we will get this guy started as well. All right, so share sound, and all right, here we go.
We all know exercise is good for physical body. Many asked, how about in the evening, after dinner, before sleep? Should we do exercise? What kind of exercise we do? Generally speaking, evening, that's near the time of sleeping. We don't suggest violent exercise, but something moderate. It's actually helpful for our good sleep. We might do 6-word healing Qigong. Deep, long breathing. Shoulder relaxed. We can also do a feet massage again. This I suggest you do when you feel you finish everything for today. Then this is a good transition moment. You think you're well ready for good sleep. Just start your sleeping with satisfaction. Nothing about today troubling you. So in Taoist circle we say, 迷先方不如迷睡方. No matter how a prescription of immortality is, it's not so good as a good sleep. So this minor casual in a relaxed way, not giving you something like a task, not feel a burden. So minor movement, harmonious breathing, so make you feel very good with such as relief, such as satisfaction of today. So go to something very important, some good moment of the day, sleep. So wish you have a good sleep.
So it's very interesting. Like, I think a lot of there's some similarities to some of the things that Lee does, and some are just different enough. It's like, wait a second, he's not doing it right. So I think it's good, right, just to be able to be open, like that there's a whole bunch of different ways to do it. And what I like about both him and with Lee, it's so different than a lot of, if you go to most sort of traditional sort of gyms or fitness routines in the US, it's like you need to do 3 sets of 10, you need to do, 6 sets of 4, whatever. There's a very sort of regimented way. And even him, you could tell he was just feeling with his chi. I asked Lee about this one time. I said, what do you do for you? Like, how do you do you, what is your Qigong practice? He says, it just whatever feels like it needs to happen. Like he doesn't go through a specific routine all of the time. And I think that the ability to understand your body well enough and your chi and to know what you need, and then to be able to sort of self-prescribe that for you individually is really powerful. And to me, it's always exciting to learn from different people, just to see, what their approach is to different ways of thinking about even noticing like the healing sounds, his sounds are a little bit different. And what is he doing? Like the cloudy hands. I was like, all right, wait a second, his hand's the wrong way. It's like, so what is he actually doing? But it isn't a wrong way. I think that and that's one of the things I really appreciate about Lee as well. There isn't like this purist way, like it has to absolutely do this way all the time. Your hand has to be at this angle. but it's really developing and creating that own practice for you that feels good. And even if you just did sort of the standing meditation, like in the beginning, when I first saw that, even going through the course, I was like, wait a second, his sound isn't on. Like he's not giving me any instructions. And I hear the construction going on in the background. Well, the sound works. He's just not saying anything. So then just being able to watch what he is doing, but the grace and sort of the sophistication of the moves that he does, and just how sort of peaceful it is at the end. I agree with you, Heidi. I think it's just very, very soothing and very, very peaceful, and a good way to sort of prep the body before you go to sleep. So, and again, we want every one of these to be slightly different. I mean, the last thing we want to do is to have these wild tea parties become so predictable and so routine. We want to make sure that we're constantly learning and sort of expanding what our understanding is of our journey together. So the next video is we're going to sort of get into the tea side of things. Is, as I mentioned, one of my very favorite types of tea, this Longjing cha or Dragon Well tea from Hangzhou, China. And it is lots of really good energy. This video is similar to some of the others that we've looked at in the past, in that it will be a very educational in terms of some of the process, the place in particular where it's from. That area is also very famous for silk. They have a beautiful factory there where you can walk through. And it's the first time I've ever seen they actually have a little silkworm there that they're actually creating the silk from it as it's coming out. And of course, they have the big gift shop at the end where you can spend a whole bunch of money buying silk pajamas or robes or whatever it might be, pillowcases, sheets, whatever. But this area, Hangzhou, very famous for this tea. And also apparently over the last decade or so, is also known as sort of the China or the Chinese Hollywood. So they do a lot of these sort of Chinese movies and these sound stages that are there as well. So, and it's definitely on the list when we're planning these tours to go to China, that Hangzhou will be a big part of that as well. So I will share this tea video, and then when we're done, we'll stop. We'll do a little bit of a tea ceremony together, because that's what we're all about, having some time together and to share and to take that break together. But wanted to just share this with you guys because I think it's a really good way to have an appreciation for another part of the world. And as we talked about last week, doing everything that we can to avoid the microplastics in the tea bags. So the Longjing, when you can get really good quality Dragon Well tea, it is a delicious treat. So, all right, we will share this one, and then we'll do a quick tea ceremony, and then we'll open it up for whatever you guys want to talk about. So we're going to take a little field trip via the magic of the internet to Hangzhou, China. As soon as I unmute it somehow, oh, there it is.
Could you tell us about you and your dad's role in this town?
好，看着，你这才不对啦，摊开来这样。
Hi guys, this is Josh from China Matters, and today I've come to the China National Tea Museum in Hangzhou City to try one of the best green teas in the country and find out what makes it special.
我们今天喝到的是我们的西湖龙井。
哇，我看一下，这个味道像。
它是一款完全不发酵的一款茶，也是我们这个绿茶皇后。这个茶的茶水比是1:50。
对呀，其实我自己跑的时候，我不知道放多少，
不知道要放多少量，是不是？
这个不
把它的底部都铺满就可以了，大概就是2克左右的样子。 我们西湖龙井最辉煌的时期就是清代，因为我们的乾隆皇帝曾经6次下江南，有4次是为了我们的这个茶叶而来的。然后他也在我们这个湖公庙前面有18棵茶树，这个茶每年炮制出来，专门是运到原来的清朝皇宫里面给皇太后喝的。
History seems to have a lot to do with what makes the tea special. My next stop was Longjing Village, which I was told was the tea's birthplace. If you want to know more about the history of Longjing Village or Dragon Well Village, this is your starting point. The story goes that during the Song Dynasty, a famous monk brought tea trees to this area, and what you see today is a vast stretch of tea plantations spread across mountain hills. And this is literally the Dragon Well that could have inspired the name for this village. Today, there is a bustling tea trade in the village. Almost everyone, every family is making their own brand of tea, striving for that perfect blend of taste and aroma. But it is easier said than done.
这里就是我们龙井村的产区，这里叫狮峰山。
Lu Yihua is a second generation of tea farmers born and bred in Longjing. Along with his father, they use traditional methods to hand process the tea sprouts freshly picked in the morning.
现在阿姨在采摘，你可以看一下我们采摘多少。
哎，你好，戴新帽子，太阳太大了哈。
我怎么摘的呢？
拿手这个提下来，那这样，一个芯子2片叶子，这个是标准的，2公分半哈，3公分是可以的了。
那就像这样，不要拿指甲去掐它，是这样子去提出来，因为你如果去掐它的时候，这里会氧化，会变颜色。对。
So, Lu Laoshi, can you tell me about the tea making process? Because it is a long process. That takes time, requires skill. So, could you just talk me through it briefly?
第一就是采摘，采摘下来之后回去要摊放，摊放完之后杀青，杀青之后回潮，回潮之后呢就是灰锅，对，灰锅完之后就精制就可以成品了。因为现在的社会发展进步比较快，那有些用了机械去代替加工，但是纯手工加工肯定是较为好的，因为它一些茶化转变啊都会比机械的要好。
Lu Yihua is a rare example of someone so young who has already mastered the art of tea processing by hand. For the 31-year-old, the most important thing is quality over quantity. But why do these traditional methods matter in the first place? What difference do they make? Lu Yihua wanted me to meet his father to find out more about these traditional methods.
安石，手提量你看，哎，拿，看着，这样，不能抓啊，不对啊，好，看着，
Wow, it smells really, really good. Okay, so what's this process exactly about?
杀青，主要是挥发水分，杀死酶的活性。
是不是这个热的呢？多少度的这个？
现在的锅温220。
220。哇，那么热。So what's happening is that they are taking the tea sprouts in the morning, they're picking it, bringing it here, and they're basically stir drying it. So I think the process of stir drying it makes the tea leaves have an aroma. So I think it smells quite, I can already smell it. It smells quite nice. 香了。
是清香。
So Lao Xiao, I'm curious, like why are you guys not wearing gloves to do this stir drying process?
我们传统是不能戴手套的。
为什么？
戴手套，触感不对的，触觉不对，就是感温它是不灵敏的，你知道吧？高，爆点全是，低拉不起来，容易出汁。你们我估计
第一次呢
8年能出师。
8年呐？是吗？我需要8年呢。
最起码8年。
哇，
学青。
但是我今天做的是不错吧？第一天。
敢下手已经算不错的了。 你看我们炒茶，你看见吗？
哇，
炒茶结束要团皮啊，一层一层皮都会团掉了。我这锅茶炒完了，等一下我泡一泡给你喝喝啊。
可以。
你尝尝。
香。Green tea smell. To make sure the leaves don't go into the cup there, so you can see clean. And the colour is quite nice as well, the green tea colour. Okay. So, OK， 老师，你尝一个。
石头中间滚，看着啊。
哦。哦。
对，与空气充分的接触，你才能尝出它的滋味。
So after I drank the tea, I can feel the sweetness, the aroma in my mouth, the taste coming up of around 5 minutes. I think after having that sweet taste in my mouth, I actually don't want to eat, or maybe I don't want to even brush my teeth. So the sweetness is what makes the green tea special, and the aroma. You can't help but respect what these people are brewing here. Even sipping tea is an art. Their traditions and methods right here and right now is a big part of Longjing's history, but only one of many in Hangzhou City. My trip to Longjing village has opened my eyes to the art of tea making, and especially the Longjing village green tea, from how the tea leaves are picked to how it's stir-dried to create the ultimate tea experience that's only unique to this area. I'm in Hangzhou. Stay tuned with China Matters.
So there you go. That's Longjing Cha. When we talk about doing these tours and these trips to China, it's to experience that firsthand. When I was in Yunnan I don't know, a few years ago, had the opportunity to try to make the tea and to press into those hot woks, and 220 degrees Celsius. Right, it's very hot, right? And so it's like even just trying to get your hands inside it, let alone touching the tea, and then you actually end up touching the wok, is just crazy. But I think that it's one of the reasons that I really fell in love with tea is, I mean, we've seen so many different teas, from the pu'er tea to the oolong tea to now this, and they're all very specific to a region. Like the things that grow up in that area, the whole thing about like terroir, right? So when you talk about or denomination of origin that they have for a lot of things, like Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, you can only get from one part of Italy that's made with very specific milk and a very specific process. And so all of these things that have taken years and years of family history and tradition to be handed down. And some of them there's mythology around it, some of them there's a bunch of science to it. But the way that they have figured out how to market them as well, it's very challenging, even just to pick the tea, like to be able to get it. And they didn't talk as much about it in this video, but depending on what they're doing, the bud is like the first thing to sprout. And then there's usually a leaf and then two leaves. So there's actually a tea company called Two Leaves in a Bud. And that's the whole idea with most high quality loose leaf tea, is that you pick the two leaves and a bud. And that's what then they do. But when they're making the tea like that, of course, the bud that's the freshest, you have to be more careful with because it's more delicate. And then they cut those. So in Japanese teas, there's what they call sencha and then bancha. And then sencha is usually from the first flush, or the bancha is the one that's coming from the second one. So usually the bigger the leaves, the less expensive the tea is. So they're really trying to get those sprouts, and very difficult. I mean, the Japanese, of course, have figured out how to do some of this with machines, but a lot of it is really picked by hand, and they get paid by filling up those big baskets that they have on their back. They carry that back down the mountain, and then they get paid for however much tea that they got in those baskets. And we did it in Yunnan. And in the time that it took one of the ladies to fill up her basket, I probably had maybe 10% of the basket filled, right? Just trying to look around and find the right ones. And is this one okay? Is this one okay? And it's just like when he was in the wok, and the guy was like, "Bu dui, bu dui," is like yelling at him, "No, you're not doing it right." Right? They're very animated and very assertive to let you know if you're doing it right or wrong. So very, very exciting. So I think maybe what we'll do now is we'll save the tea sort of as part of some meditation at the very end, and just allow you guys to have any questions, comments, anything that you guys want to share, either about what you saw or questions about it from there. So I think you guys should be able to unmute yourselves. Let me just see.
I'd like to know if you could speak on, Todd, if you could speak on like where we get our tea. So like I drink a lot of matcha, and I heard also with green tea to get it from Japan instead of China. Can you speak to that? Do I have the information, give different information, or?
It's well, matcha is very specific to Japan, and I don't know that there's much. And actually, I was thinking about doing matcha today until I ran into this guy Josh, who I automatically don't like because he sounds so sophisticated with like a British accent, and he speaks Chinese. So I always feel like this inferiority complex around people that have a British accent anyway. But the matcha is very specific in terms of how it's made, and then it's ground so that it dissolves more or less in the water. And I think that you can usually find most teas are being made and copied in lots of other places, but you definitely, for the matcha tea, want to make sure it's from Japan. And there's different grades of tea. In fact, I have a couple of Japanese tea masters that we're going to have on at some point in the relatively near future and talk about the ceremony, but there's different grades. Like this, the highest grade of matcha is called ceremonial grade. I don't know for most people if you'd be able to tell the difference, but there's definitely an art with the bowl and the whisk and being able to get it to be foamy enough. But I think it's important just to make sure that you know where the tea comes from. And so even some of those that we've posted before, Rishi Tea always has very good teas. Verdant Tea is another tea company that has really good stuff. Trident Tea is in Boulder near Jenny. And Peter, the owner of that store, I think is going to try to come on here in a couple of weeks as well and just share some of his stories. So, but it's usually matcha, all of the Japanese green teas, a lot of those you can source. There's actually a really good company. These guys have great Japanese teas called Tazumi. I don't know if you guys can see that. But a bunch of young guys, their sencha is great. I've never had their matcha, but really good guys in New York. They're doing some fun stuff. But if there's ever specific questions, Chris, like that you have, or you want to, before you spend any money, send me something, just send me a note in Mighty and I can let you know for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering about the, what your perspective was with the China versus Japan. I do buy my matcha directly from Japan in a section called, I believe it's Yuji, but you might know if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I get mine from Encha, a company called Encha, and I do use ceremonial. I find the ceremonial whisks better. It kind of dissolves more better than others that stay clumpier. Like if you're just buying it off the shelf at, your local store. So
Exactly. And that's part of the reason it's more expensive, like is how it's ground and how it's grown and all of that. But yeah, that's a good observation for sure. It's awesome. Well, thanks, Chris. Good to see you.
you too.
Stephen Washington, you politely had your hand raised.
Yeah, thank you so much, Todd, for these videos. I got so much out of hearing the sort of more history about Qigong and also just being introduced to that teacher and his work. And I love identifying the similarities and the differences and how they're all powerful. I love during the teacher training program when Lee talks about just the fact that there are thousands of different styles of Qigong. As many styles of Qigong as there are teachers on the planet, really, because no one's going to teach it exactly the right way. So it's just so important to just have such a loose grip on the medicine and on the methods, because it's just one way of doing it. And I think that the power of the medicine transcends the teacher, transcends so many other things that I think, especially from a Western perspective, we can say, well, it's not that, or if you don't do it this way, then you're not doing it right, or you're not going to get any kind of effect from it. I firmly believe that the power of the elements, the power of the medicine transcends all that. If you show up for the space and the time, and you do the movement, and you have a certain intention and focus, that amazing things can happen. So I love that. And these videos around the tea are just phenomenal. I want to go. When are we leaving? When are we going? It's just remarkable.
Tomorrow morning would be from LAX, 5:30.
Yeah.
So soon, hopefully. It's, as you can imagine, so we've actually been doing a lot of work trying to get a few of these planned. And so there's how many people, how do you get that many people around? How do you get them from place to place? And some of these, of course, are very remote. So what kind of a bus or van or dune buggies do we need to be able to get people up to wherever we're going? But definitely have a few. And then, of course, you have to plan far enough into the future to be able to reserve them and give people time to adjust their schedules. So hopefully we'll be able to do at least one this fall to China, if not to Japan. Sulio and I are going to Japan actually in a couple of weeks, and actually 4 weeks, almost exactly 4 weeks. So we're going to, on part of a cherry blossom sort of bucket list thing, to go see all the cherry blossoms, and then to maybe do a little bit of a scouting work to try to find some future places for us to stop. So hopefully soon enough, so that it won't be all on video on these calls. We can create our own videos. So thank you, Stephen. Hi, Linda. Good to have you with us.
Oops. Hi, thank you. Nice to be with you too. Very, very wonderful spirit and chi circulating here. So my question had to do with, you know, how we have organic things labeled organic. And I often don't see that in traditional Chinese herbs. And I just wonder, do they spray like we do? And whether in China, Thailand, I mean, I wonder. All these different places.
I can confirm they actually spray a lot of them depending on where they are. It's one of the challenges of having an organic label on tea, because even if it is organic, it could be next door to a farm or a field that isn't organic. And of course, the pesticides, when they're sprayed into the air, don't know just to go to the field that is not organically certified. So it's a challenge. And I think that that's a big part of trying to be very careful. In fact, Rishi Tea was one of the very first, or one of the only companies that required all of the teas that were loose leaf teas to be certified organic. So I think that there's a challenge, and even more so with a lot of the Chinese herbs.
Mm-hmm.
Tea is very challenging, and the herbs also. I mean, I've seen some research, not enough that I could quote any of it, but you know, that a lot of times the pesticides and things that you can wash off in the first flush or the first, you know, rinse of all of them. But I've also heard that sometimes that gets rid of a lot of the nutrients that were actually in those herbs as well. So it's kind of a two-edged sword.
Right. So would you say that if it doesn't say organic, that it isn't, you know, same as here?
I would think that's 100% certainty, and that it's not. And I think that the challenge is also that if it does say it's certified organic, still have to be careful, because you don't know. They're not testing every single batch that comes in. Like they're certifying a practice, right? Somebody has to have gone there to inspect, and there's a certain, I guess what you would say, like chain of custody, right? That has to sort of follow certain good manufacturing practices, that it wasn't mixed somehow.
Right.
But all of that, I always get a little skeptical, having spent a lot of time in the food world, that you don't even know, even if it left the farm organic, you don't know what it was maybe mixed with on the way over or when it got to a factory. So I think as much as I try to do that as much as possible, it's why I also try to have a very consistent Qigong practice, so that the Qi can help fight whatever else may be coming in.
Exactly. Very good. Okay, thank you.
And thanks, Linda. Great to have you with us.
I appreciate it. It's nice to be here. Really nice.
Cindy and Jack, did you guys have a question? I saw you raised your hand and then disappeared for a second.
Yes, and then my computer died.
Excellent.
So
Welcome back.
it was not quite related to tea, but how is your wrist?
Well, Cindy, I'm glad you asked that question. It works, put it that way. But you'll notice like this hand, like the bone looks sort of symmetrical and this bone is on the top. This one is different, like it goes out to the side.
Oh.
So either he did it wrong or it's something, but it works. There's times when it'll still be painful, and more like just tight rubber bands or something. Like I just kind of have to like work it out. But I have little rings that I work, but no surgery. Didn't have to have any surgery, and it works fine. I'm probably not going to be able to ride my motorcycle as much because, or I have to get a new one, which would be okay. But the clutch is very difficult, and if you're going around town, it's a lot of that. But it works. I do use this spray. It's called Zhonggu Shui. You guys maybe it's like in almost
Yes, we have that.
every market, right? And spray that on, and that just I don't know if it helps or if it's all psychological or just the smell makes me think it should be helping, but usually feels a lot more flexible and able to move it around. It's good, but thanks for asking. It's good.
I've been wondering, like, did it work?
It worked that I didn't have to have the surgery. I have no desire to ever go through bone setting ever again like that. It was ridiculously painful, but was super. I mean, who knows what would have happened if I had surgery? I mean, I could be having all sorts of other complications and issues, and so it's doing as good as I would hope it to be doing at this point. Considering how bad it was broken, for sure. It's good. Well, good to see you guys. Well, let's happy to stick around for a little while afterwards, but maybe we'll have a quick little sort of tea meditation, tea ceremony with everybody. So
I'm going to ask one quick question. We talked about, I'm going to say they're vampires, the attention vampires, but did anybody get a chance to lose their phones this week?
Good question.
I took a walk today without my phone.
That's awesome. I'm listening to this book. I don't know if I talked about this before. I know I've told Stephen about this, but there's a great book called The Artist's Way. And they encourage you to write 3 pages every morning. So it's part of my meditation. You just write stream of consciousness. And they have a thing where they're for an entire week. I forget what they describe. Media, whatever, disconnection, something where you're not supposed to have any email, any phones, nothing. So not just no cell phone, but not even to read a book. Like you're just supposed to be with yourself for a week. And they say that most of the people that do that, that are the most adamant about how they can't do it, are the ones that have the biggest impact for having done it. Because we're so addicted to it, right? To whatever, whether it's social media, whether it's YouTube, whether it's whatever that happens to be. But I think it's a good practice to try to do that. The other thing that after the conversation we had last week, I was thinking about is getting an alarm clock so that my phone isn't even in my bedroom when I go to sleep, right? So there's just, because it's just easy just to look at it and, oh, wait, Stephen sent me a text, or nobody responded to my Facebook post or whatever, right? So to be able to get all those distractions out of there so that after you finish your Qigong practice, you can actually go to sleep.
May I say something?
Please.
So my home is hardwired, so we have no Wi-Fi. And it's wonderful. I do have a sensitivity to it, but my phone is off most of the time. I check it periodically through the day, and of course, maybe for GPS and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's there's a definite difference. And once you become, I've had a sensitivity, but then I just like anything else, if you eat well, you're sensitive to whatever it is that you're eating, and when something isn't great. Well, it's the same thing with the phone. It's just such a good way to live. I highly recommend it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that anytime that you can disconnect even if it's for a short period of time. And if you guys haven't had a chance to check out that video that I posted from Dzogchen Panlap Rinpoche about searching for the searcher, just a lot of the stuff that he talks about in there is so powerful. And as we spoke about, there's people literally right now studying in schools and in these businesses how to get your attention on social media, right? How to keep you distracted from everybody else. And those, what do we call them? Attention vampires or attention bandits or whatever they are. So it's good. Cindy, did you have something else you wanted to share?
Yeah, I'll try to make a quick story just to raise our awareness. Jack and I were looking at this really incredible loft that we wanted to buy. And about after I left, I kind of had a headache. And I said, this is really strange, but this is an amazing loft. And so we looked at it 2 more times. And every time I looked at it, I was like, something isn't quite right. And so our daughter mentioned to me, I said, Kendra, something's not right in the loft. I don't feel good when we're there. I don't think we're going to buy it. And she goes, Mom, did you know there's a cell tower on the roof? And I said, no, I had no awareness of that. And so we hired someone to come in, actually from Boulder, Colorado, to do an EMF reading. And he said, I don't tell any of my clients this, but I will tell you, do not buy this. This is a cancer box. There's a reason that you are feeling this way. In fact, I'm going to go home and do a major detox after being in here for the 3 hours it took me to do all the readings. And then we learned that the people that sold it, actually, the couple, they had left to go home because the husband had cancer. And so they were going back to be with family members for his treatment. And so I just wanted to share that as just a really awareness. It's like we have our phones with us too, but we have to really think of where we're buying our homes and where we're spending our time. And it was just a really powerful, powerful experience for Jack and I. And so grateful that I had my Qigong practice, or I may not have had that sensitivity to it, to realize something doesn't feel right, especially in the back bedroom. And that was exactly where the cell tower was. And so now even when we travel, we're keenly aware of that, to make sure we get a room that's not near a cell tower or anything like that. So just so we can take it out and into the world a little bit too, and just have a great awareness.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, good for you. I mean, for being that tuned in and that aware, right, ahead of time. That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty impactful.
Unreal. Linda?
I know I'm talking a lot here, but this is a subject that has just been so impactful in my life. And I might have had the same person come when we bought a home in Divide, Colorado, and come and we, before we bought the house, we've always had things checked out like that. But since we're talking about this and being, what was the word that I forgot who it was, Chris said at the beginning, Steelers, I can't think of the word.
Right. Attention vampires.
Right. Well, and at bedtime, what I've learned through having 4 homes mitigated is if you can just unplug your modem at night, at minimum, definitely don't have your phone in, but unplug your modem in your house. That can be a big help too, even just that.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about how much the world's changed, I mean, I remember when I was growing up as a kid, there was no like lights that were on because something electric was running, right? I mean, there was no now you walk around any house and there's modems are on and the smart refrigerator and the whatever else it is. It's like almost glowing at night, even if you think everything is shut off.
Yeah. We've actually taken all the chips out of our televisions because even if they have these chips that are constantly searching for signals, and you'd get the 35, 40,000 particular measurement of this going off searching, and they're unplugged. It's crazy. So anyway, I'll go. Thank you.
There's I'm gonna have to find this book. Now you guys got me on this other tangent. But so Dr. Yang Jwing-Ming, who many of you guys know, that has the one of the books that Jenny and I read a lot, sort of the Tao Te Ching from a Qigong perspective, and he's written a lot of books, recommends a lot of things around EMF and just different like energy medicine. And so how to stay away from your microwave, how to like just all these things that we sort of take for granted that are a part of modern life, even Bluetooth. Right? You got these things, these waves going right into your head, right, from your phone or from wherever else it happens to be. And I think that's a big part of what we want to do with the retreat center that we're in the process of trying to build another story for another time. Here in Chattanooga, we've got all sorts of headaches and issues about building a commercial driveway and getting railroad easements and all these other things. But just the ability for people to go somewhere to disconnect, you know, to be able to unplug. And just not only just the attention, like we're talking about, like all these things, like you said, and I think, thank you, Stephen, for putting that in there. I was going to come up with all sorts of other words, but attention merchants, those guys that are out there, you know, really doing just that, trying to get our attention. But then there's that technology side of it, like, and all of these ways, and it's interesting that we're having this conversation around Qigong, right? Because the Qi is out there everywhere, right? It's like radio waves were there before there were radio stations, right? So it's like, how do you tap into this? And always very interesting to think about Nikolai Tesla, the original Tesla, before the cars, and just the way that he understood a lot of these things. It's a completely different way of understanding things other than the way that we have then now sort of created our whole modern world. So I think as much as we can unplug and as frequently as we can do it, like we're trying on Sunday to have completely technology free. Just completely unplug from everything, no TV, and whether it's reading or painting or drawing or whatever, but just trying to really just spend that time without any, we haven't quite gotten to the part where we're going to try to, you know, cook on an open fire outdoors. We may still use the equipment in the kitchen, but other than that, trying to unplug from every other source of technology. So, well, let's do this. Why don't we close with just a quick sort of tea ceremony if you have a cup of water, or just an empty hand, empty vessel works the same way. So whatever you have. And now that I'm actually back in the saddle, I will put these up for sale at some point on the website in the next few days, so that you guys can have a microplastic, nanoplastic free tea experience. So just kind of hold your hand a couple of different ways. You can just put your hands around it as if you are hugging it, and you can just hold it in front of your heart and just sort of close our eyes for a minute or two and just kind of take a deep breath and just appreciate the irony of this conversation about unplugging, that we're all connected via this amazing technology. So there's always something to be grateful for at the same time, but just appreciating each other. And so just invite you to maybe take a big inhale from whatever is in your cup. And then just feel that go through your body. And this time we'll take one more inhale. And then exhale and blow it out. And just sort of feel whatever is in your cup already starting to impact you through your sinuses, through the breath, through the aroma, through maybe some of the memories. And we'll just do a couple of circles. So if you want to just take your cup and kind of circle it out in front of you, sort of little Qigong moves, sort of inhale as you bring it into your heart center, and then exhale as you go back out. Inhale on the way in, exhale on the way out. And then I'll just take one quick sip. And just try to feel everywhere that you feel it and experience it in your mouth. The tip of the tongue, on the side, on the roof of your mouth. And take one more sip. And this time maybe swishing it around a little bit so you can feel it on the sides of your tongue. And then one more sip. If your tea's warm, mine's not any longer. It's cold, but sometimes then you can feel it and sort of feel that sensation. It always goes all the way down the back of your throat into your chest. And just with your hands in front of your cup, just a quick bow to everybody that's here. Thank you guys so much for being here together with us. A quick bow to my good friend and sister Jenny. And to all of you guys for being here and sharing your time, even with technology, together with us. So appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure and an honor to be here with you guys. I'll stick around for a few minutes if anybody wants to stick around. Otherwise, hopefully we'll see you guys, if not next Wednesday, maybe on Saturday with Stephen and I on Saturday morning at 10:30 or 7:30 Pacific time. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Sleep tight.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. Good to have you with us.
Thank you so much. You too. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
I have a
Good to see you.
quick question.
Yes,
I always have trouble just finding the link. First couple of times it was easy. It was on the page. I could find it, join. But last two times, I kept looking at the way is the join button and he said click on it. So is there any Zoom numbers or anything that I
Yeah,
can?
well, there's always, so it's the same. I'll show you a couple of things. So first of all, when you are in the Mighty space, you can just go into the Ship and Share community.
Yeah.
You go up to this events, and then any of these that pop up. So all of the future ones, they're all scheduled here. And you can just click on this and then go to the meeting link. But because it's the same link every single time, you can just bookmark it if you want to. So what you could do in that case, well, you won't be able to, I'll just show you this way. I don't think, yeah, it probably isn't going to work that way. What you can do is I will give you, here, actually, let me stop this.
I was wondering that just simply.
So there's a meeting ID, and I will do two things. So first of all, I will send this to you.
Through Messenger?
Yeah, I'll do that. And then here, I don't know if that's the easiest way. Let me see. So, accept all cookies. So I just sent you the link in Mighty Network. So that's the same link every single time. The meeting ID that you can also just use to type in is this. And I'll also send it to you where we've connected before.
Yeah, and Messenger, because I can. You've sent me this before.
Yeah, that might be an older one where we changed the link a couple of weeks
Okay,
ago.
no wonder I couldn't find it because I keep using that one.
So if you look at, there's a number that I put in there too, you can even just write this down too, but I'll send it to you.
But I was thinking, go ahead, give me the number.
It's almost like a telephone number. So 847
847
1235
7235.
So 847, then 1235.
Okay, it's not 7235, 1235.
Yep. And then 2759. So 847 1235 2759.
2759 is the passcode.
Nope, that's all of those, however many that is, 811 numbers are all the meeting ID.
Okay, 847-1-2-3-5-2-7-5-9. So I'll just simply go to the Zoom and then just just
Type in that number.
type in that number. That's much better. So because every time like, am I going to be able to find it or not? So,
Well, I will, I'll also send it to you in Messenger, both of those, so the Zoom link and that number, just so you have
I
it.
appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
You're very
Uh,
welcome.
Yeah, yeah. I was. What did you do to your hand? Why was it in misaligned?
I broke it. I
Just
slipped.
recently?
No, last summer, last July, and shattered a bunch of the carpal bones and broke it. I slipped on my patio and landed on my wrist, like my full body, and like jammed everything in. So instead of having surgery, I went to go see a Chinese medicine doctor, and he very painfully reset the bones. With some herbal mud that he would soak on it for a while and then push and pull and prod and created as much pain as I think humanly possible. But it did keep me from having to have surgery. So
That's in old Iranians. That's how they did that. They didn't go to a doctor. They just go there. Just people that they knew exactly what they were doing, and it just most often it just sometimes it didn't. But but sometimes it worked,
well,
people that
this
they know how
guy
to maneuver.
was the antithesis of what you might imagine. It's not like going to a doctor with his lab coat and his stethoscope and his fancy office with all his diplomas on the back wall. He was in shorts and sandals, smoking a cigarette, and it's like this thing that was passed down from his great great grandma to his great grandma to his grandma to his mom, and it was like literally put this paste on it, and I had to go back every 3 days to get that herbal bandage changed. But yeah, it was like exactly what you're describing. Like it was an ancient, in that case, sort of Chinese secret that's not even, very few people even understand it, nor would want to do it as a patient if they could help it otherwise. But I just was bound and determined not to have surgery.
Oh, wow. It's amazing if it was shattered. That's a different story. If it was like a clean cut. It's a little bit different, but yeah. Well, I'm glad that it's working for you,
Me too. So Nushin, I just put those both of those links in Messenger. So you should have
right.
both of those to make it
Sometimes
easier.
I've sent messages for you on that. Oh, I saw that. Yes, yeah. I wasn't. I didn't get any answer. I was wondering if you got my messages or not, because
Yeah.
I was thinking, yeah.
And then I did get your message about the teacup. So send me your address. I will send you one.
No, I have to send something to you.
But just invite people and more people to come. Just keep inviting. But you just
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. It would mean a lot to me. I appreciate it. I've lost a job and I have been, just looking for it, but I have been just really impacted by this tea meditation, and because Lee had brought it up in one of the classes. I'm in his subscription class.
Oh,
So,
okay.
he has brought it up and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And I mean, tonight you did it. I wondered that how would it be to do with the community, and then I asked him the question again, and then he just showed me one more time. I don't know what happens. Does it like realign the meridians or energy pathway? It does something, at least for me. Sometimes I do hold a crystal. So like I do something like heavy, like
Oh,
this.
yeah.
It's a marble egg. It's heavy. It stays in my hand. It's right fit.
Okay.
And then somehow holding this, if I'm really stressed, just holding this and keep it close to my heart just processes the feeling quickly. But with the tea, with the tea meditation, I told him that, do you mind if I teach it to people? And I was thinking as like a business to just, to just add it to my tea business. And he said, it's okay. It's okay. Because I didn't want him to feel like I'm stealing something from him. I
Oh,
asked,
he got it from one of his teachers, so it's all good.
Yeah. And he said that, oh, you sell teas. And I'm like, yes, I do. And I'm like, only if he knows what kind of tea I sell. I'm going to be yelled at, Just I come in here, you guys talk about, all these high quality teas, and my teas are all just flavored teas, It's in my Facebook if you want to go see some of the teas that they do, but it's in Nushin Sophani and on my Facebook page. But I thought that Lee is going to yell at me. He said that, no, I want to know what what kind of tea is that. I gave some information to Chen, and then I'm like, oops, it's like I'm going to embarrass myself.
No, not at all.
And I've been just really thinking about I feel bad, and like I'm thinking about earning some money with the tea, but it's just something that's just so dear to my heart. It's mostly, for me, it's like mostly brewing the tea. It's just like I feel like there is no way that you can brew a tea and not be present in your in your body. And I have had a lot of anxiety myself, lots of dissociation, and that has really supported me. So, and I'm like, I like to teach it to other people, but
Yeah, I think
thinking-
any of those routines, right? I mean, any of that, any time that you can just sort of have a little bit of structure and a little bit of routine and kind of slow down and follow steps, like just the sort of methodology, right? And just the ability to sort of follow, it's almost like some type of a ritual, right? Do you just do it just to kind of help you be very present is
To be
always.
honest with all this, the Qigong moves after my car accident, it just can get really too much, and it throws me off my system. And then I just get just really weird symptoms after that, after I get a headache or dizzy or something, or like shaking in my body.